In this episode of creating a fursuit from scratch, we're going to go ahead and start sculpting the muzzle. So we're going to start carving out some foam and getting some kind of basic shapes in place on the front of the fursuit head. In the previous episode, we went ahead and created a basic bucket for all the parts to sit on. And in the episode before that, we went ahead and created a character. So before we start actually sculpting foam and kind of creating our basic muzzle from a template, we're going to go ahead and work on something completely different. Now, I know you're not expecting to see the sewing machine this soon in this project, but there's something we forgot to do in the last video. I did it not even thinking about it, and now we need to pay the price and do a little extra work. So, let me cut open this box, and as soon as you see it, you'll remember exactly what we forgot to do. Get that done. It's Lycra. We forgot to add the headliner for the suit. So we're gonna have to whip up a quick barrel of balaclava and then go ahead and glue it in the suit, because if we don't do it now, it's gonna be much harder before we start adding all the foam on the outside of the suit. Making your own balaclava sounds hard, but be willing to cheat, it's actually really easy. So the way I do this is I grab my personal favorite balaclava. So this is one I bought off Amazon. It's like a knockoff of an Under Armour one. And what I've done here is, if you can tell, I folded this pattern, the Lycra fabric itself, over itself once. So there's one fold here, so that when we sew this together, we have to do less work. So we are literally just gonna trace our favorite little balaclava here. I have a paint pen, so it's like a Posca pen, kinda. And then, just like if we were stealing some artwork, we're gonna trace this guy out. And after that, we're gonna get that done. We're gonna pin it all together with just regular safety pins. And then finally, just do a quick pass on the sewing machine, and that'll give us a free balaclava. I lied. Actually, before cutting this out, we're gonna quickly pin it together, just so when we cut it out, it doesn't start flopping around everywhere. We'll probably re-pin this here in a sec before we sew it together, but this will at least make it so it isn't falling apart as soon as we cut it out. So I've gone ahead and cut it out, and I'm gonna go ahead and re-pin it using these little bulldog clips. I just think they make sewing so much easier. I'm gonna quickly re-pin everything, and then I'm gonna get it ready for the sewing machine. I've gone ahead and moved the camera so you have a prime seat for some great sewing action. We're gonna quickly knock this out, and then just go ahead and zip it all together. So after a bit of fighting, I went ahead and finished the balaclava. It took a little bit of finesse, a little bit of fighting, but it's finally done. I ended up making the facial quite a bit larger. That's just so you have more room inside the fursuit head itself. The next step is going to be go ahead and take this off and then glue it inside our foam bucket head. Before we glue this in, let's quick knock out these holes. Now, I know what you're thinking. What in the world can I possibly have to say that we need to do before gluing these two parts together? But I have a surprise. We have another box to open. Isn't he magnificent? This is a life cast of a human that we are going to use to work off of. See? Now we have a much better idea how we can position things and shape things without having to use our own head. This hopefully will make this process a lot easier. What we're going to do is we're going to put both of these items on the mannequin, and then we're going to get the hot glue gun and then just glue it all together. This way, instead of having to fight with like a really finicky kind of just like sticking them together, this should be a lot simpler. I don't know if you've ever hot glued stuff before, but it's very satisfying. Let me move the camera just a little bit. Sometimes the solution to a problem is just hot gluing the absolute crap out of it, and I think that's what we're gonna do here. So here is our finished glued together balaclava and foam base head. I did have to go ahead and make a second version of the balaclava. This ended up being a bit too small, and I didn't want to worry about it, so I just went ahead and ripped it out and replaced it. It's a lot faster when you're not filming. It only took me probably 20 minutes. The next step we have to worry about is building the muzzle. So I don't know about you, but the muzzle's really intimidating. Like, it's one of the most intimidating parts. If you get it wrong, it's actually a lot of work to fix, and basically everything rests on top of it. So let me kind of show you what I'm thinking about. Let me move the camera here. So this is a super rough kind of proof of concept. None of this is final, this is all get scrapped. But basically it shows kind of what I'm thinking. We're gonna have kind of 4 major parts. We're gonna have the big muzzle piece, the bottom jaw, and then the 2 kind of cheek fluffs, I guess you'd call them. I think this is gonna be a pretty good start and probably how we're gonna approach this problem. Originally the plan was to use the kloof suits, but if I get the template piece out and move the camera, I found her pattern pieces to actually be very large. I think these would work great for like a wolf, but with the fox, it's such a short little muzzle that I think we had to kind of go our own. But I do really love the way she constructs the inner muzzle with the other piece on the outer side to kind of give your nose, like your human nose, kind of a carved out space inside the muzzle. So I think that's what we're gonna end up doing. The first step though is gonna be getting this piece actually cut out and actually a little bit shaped. And then once we have that done, I think everything else will kind of follow naturally. So here is some scrap foam from the previous project. And here is our muzzle. This is kind of the general shape that I think we're gonna go with. Let's start by tracing this and just kind of Tetrising it on our foam and cutting it out really nice and neatly. I think we're gonna use 3 parts for this. So this is a 2-inch, and then we're gonna do probably 1/2 inch on each side and then see if that's the thickness we want. Let's go ahead and cut it all out. Here is our finished cutout muzzle. We're gonna go ahead and do the side pieces now. Also, please be careful with the knife. You can stab yourself with these things. So there's that cutout. It's, I don't know, 10% larger than the original template. Let's go ahead and cut everything out, pin it all on the suit, and then once we do that, I think we can start fiddling with it. For now, let's just get pieces cut out. So I want to give you some tips on how to shape foam. So this is the way I found to do it. There are many different strategies, but let me at least walk through this. The first thing I do is I pin everything together. I won't put any glue on this until probably the very last thing. I really just want to get it all fit nice and well before making anything permanent. Then I kind of stick it all together with just using regular pins, and I'm going literally 1 piece at a time, just trying to get it right. So this looks okay. This bottom piece I think is a bit big, so what I'm gonna do is I'm literally gonna take this 1 piece off, make 1 cut, and then put it back, and then see how it looks. Going 1 piece at a time might sound a bit overkill, and it might sound like it takes forever, and it does. It does take forever. But it really limits you to making changes that you can actually kind of control, right? Like, as long as you're only making 1 change of 1 piece, you can't accidentally destroy all your progress. And that's really what we're trying to avoid here. Another thing that we need to quick knock out is make this eye hole a bit bigger. This was just to get it centered on the body, but this is probably gonna be the finished character eye. So, update. I've been working on this for a couple hours and I'd forgotten how hard this is. Let me show you what we currently have. So if I move the camera, this is kind of the rough shapes we're working with now. It's definitely looking a lot cleaner. I still need to cut the eye out. I haven't fleshed out any of the pieces yet. This is, again, still rough pieces. And then I kind of think doing something like this for the side cheeks. I'm not sure yet. Truthfully, I'm getting pretty burnt out just working with this same piece over and over again. I might call this good for tonight, and then tomorrow I might actually start considering gluing some of it together. It is looking pretty good though. It's much better than it looked a few hours ago. It's just, oh, it's so fiddly. I'm not super worried. I know we'll get there in the end, but I wanted to give you guys a progress update. I don't know what percentage of you guys are artists out there. I assume most of you, but if you've ever drawn a painting or a sketch or something, you can fall into the trap of being super detailed in one spot, right? Like you're gonna be drawing a character and you have the hand and you're spending all that time working on the beautiful detail of the hand and working on the fingernails and the thumbs and everything. But when you zoom out, you have like a perfect hand and everything else is still a super basic sketch. Like you still have a stick figure leg, but like the fingernails are beautifully rendered on the thumb. I think we can fall into that problem here on this suit, so let's avoid it. I think the next step will be getting the eyes done, or at least like a basic CAD template, And then we'll go, everything else, we'll just start building the foam, right? The eyelid's gonna be next, so we can really start like fleshing out the face, and we'll do the ears and then probably the cheek fluff. I think once we get all that done, then we can start really focusing on all the detail and gluing it together, and those are future problems. Let's not worry about that now. There's zero penalty to having it all pinned together, so let's just keep doing that. So if you've made it this far, I'd please ask that you like and subscribe. I've been trying really hard to make one of these videos every single week, and man, it's been a lot. But I've been really enjoying the challenge. It's been really fun. Someone said in the comment section before that I need to make my thumbnails better. That's what I've been trying to learn how to do now. YouTube is really hard. Who would have guessed? If you've ever tried to make your own YouTube channel, oh, it's hard. But nonetheless, I think everything is going much better than I ever expected. I'm really happy with the progress. If you have any criticisms on how I can make these videos better, please leave a comment. I'd love to get the feedback. Until next time, I'll see you guys again. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The YouTube algorithm loves it. Thank you.